Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with Gretta, and of course, the Realm of Beings. We are so happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio, Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you hear that term, Realm of Beings, you may ask yourself, who are they? How do they operate in our lives? Why are they even coming through with these messages now? Do we all receive guidance? How can we learn to use it in order to flow through our lives with ease? These conversations will help you examine your life and your creation of reality. They will help you to shift your impressions and understand what you're creating in your life and how it shows up. Let's start shifting impressions. Hi, Gretta. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, Leigh. I'm fine. Getting ready for the holidays and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes, aren't we all? They're just around the corner.
Yeah.
And also, our other co-host, Yvonne, is still dealing with the family challenge. So it's just the three of us today, myself, Gretta, and the Realm. So, Gretta, today, with the upcoming new year, we decided to discuss and work with the quotation, "There is a new beginning at every moment."
Yes, we certainly did. And that is extremely accurate, but we don't realize it. We think of creating reality as being something big. Mm-hmm. And I think we've stated that before in one of the podcasts. If I've manifested a house, if I've manifested winning the lottery, if I've manifested getting a scholarship, then they look at that as my creation of reality. We don't realize that we are creating reality at every moment. Like if we take my hand and I'm going to hold up this finger, I've just created a different reality than holding up this finger. Now it's different. Every time you do something, it's a creation of reality. So me to hold my thumb when we do this, which means, yay, we're out, on target. And now I'm moving my thumb. Every time I move my thumb down, that's a reality. When I move my thumb up, that's another reality. If I move it sideways, that's another reality. It's like walking. When we're walking and we put our right foot in front of our left, that's a creation of reality. Everything we do and everything we think and feel is our creation of reality. So when you said that to me, Leigh, that the realm gave us that quote of, at every moment, we are creating our reality. That is absolutely, I have to be in total agreement with that.
And I think, we're in this holiday season and the 2022 is almost upon us. So maybe that's something we can be more aware and cognizant of in this new year that's upon us, right? And look at what we're creating.
Absolutely, absolutely. And see, a lot of times we don't pay attention to our thoughts.
Yes.
Or pay attention to our emotions. It's like we let things just happen. So we think that it just happened, and it really didn't. What it's doing is that we're creating everything. And then some people get confused. They ask me, well, how do I know when somebody's supporting me or when I'm creating it?
Oh, I ask you that all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the somebody.
Yeah. Well, how you know is if it's happening to you personally happening to you, then that's your creation of reality. Like you said, you've got the snivels earlier before we started the show. Okay, that's your creation of reality because it's happening to you.
Right. And I was thinking back on that from one of the previous episodes. And we were talking about having a cold and its overwhelmment, right? So
Yeah.
I know that before I left, I was feeling overwhelmed because what to bring, closing up the house. Is everyone going to be happy with their gifts? Challenges of travel at this point. So I know that I was feeling overwhelmed, and this is why this showed up now like this. Are there any other mental equivalencies that I should be aware of?
No, that's probably it. But except though, when you said thinking about you were in a worry mode too, were people going to be accepting of your gifts?
Yeah, that's probably some like tied into some self-worth issue too, I guess.
And
Right.
fear.
Um,
Because worry is an extension of fear.
okay, it's just sort of like a step up in the
Yeah.
emotional range.
Or we can say
deeper.
Yeah, it's like when you worry about anything, that's a fear of something not working or something working, it's fear orientation in that. But we can deal with that with we've been telling our audience about QDR, quick displace replace. So you can say, I release all emotions and thoughts that are supporting me in sniveling.
Okay.
This is where you mention the challenge.
Okay.
Mention a challenge. So you can say, I'll say it again for everybody, but it says, I release. You've got to use those two words. I release all emotions, thoughts. It doesn't matter if you put thoughts first or emotions, because as we told our followers before, that your reality is created by way of your thoughts. How are you thinking? And then it sits there and it waits for you. When you give it the emotions, that's the gas. The more emotions you give to something, the more intense it is. The greater the possibility of it actualizing itself. So you want people to accept your gifts and note that you put a lot of thought into it. You're bringing it from Turkey. There's so much. So you want them to love the gifts and appreciate them. So that's how you think.
Right.
That's how you think. You stay focused on what you want, not on what you don't want. Mm-hmm. Because if you focus the energy on what you don't want, that's a fear of producing what you don't want. And so consequently, you get what you don't want.
Yes.
Fear is a very, very strong energy. And we encourage people to look at our podcast that dealt with fear and its impact on your life. So somebody wants to review that. But yeah, so you want to get rid of that. So then you would say, Leigh, I release all, but see, once you said, let me stop that to say this. Once you say, I release all emotions, all thoughts that support me in feeling overwhelmed, I love myself unconditionally. but then you want to deal with the fear. I release all emotions and fears.
I release all emotions and fears.
And all emotions, thoughts. I'm sorry. Fear is an emotion, but you want to state it.
Okay.
You want to state it this time. I release all emotions, thoughts, fears.
I release all emotions, thoughts, fears.
Of my family not receiving my gifts.
Of my family not receiving my gifts.
Right. I love myself.
I love myself unconditionally.
There you go.
See, that's practice, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to practice it, because see, one thing that QDR does is it really keeps you listening to yourself. You know, it keeps you being aware of the thoughts that you are thinking in your head. Are these thoughts I want to get rid of, I want to release, or these thoughts? Yeah, the unconscious can keep these thoughts, can keep thoughts of me loving myself. Keep that. You know, but me not loving myself, get rid of that. I don't want that anymore. You know, even an illness, like even a headache, you can say, I release I don't understand what that means. I'm looking in the chat message. What is that?
Oh, we have a lot of things going on today. Where I'm being told by our producer that I should give my people coal and they can grill things.
Oh, God.
And now I am in a
So
public
funny.
place.
Look who we got attached to us. A comedian, okay? We created a comedian.
We're creating comedy. That's good.
Oh, God. Yeah. So you always state afterwards that you love yourself unconditionally.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Yeah. Okay. So when do we start creating our reality? Ha.
That's a big one, right?
That's a big one, because we think we start creating the reality once we have once we come into our humanoid form and we're born. That's when we start creating our reality. People don't understand you start creating your reality before conception. Now, if they go on, there's some stories that deal with, they call them pre-birth stories. To listen to a few of those would be good. You can find them on YouTube, just like you find Shifting Impressions. And you would put in pre-birth stories, and you'll be able to hear people who remember the choices that they were making prior to even coming here. Because one of the things of creation of reality is that you choose your parents. We choose the parents that are going to provide us with the DNA and with the genetics that we want to experience, that the DNA and the genetics are helping us or supporting us in our lessons that we've been given. Now, it's like people say that we choose our lessons. Technically, we could say, yes, they're correct. But see, from our perspective, we look at everyone is the force. So the force receives, lets us know what it wants to experience. And then let me say this, it can get kind of, no, I'm not going to even create that. People are going to be able to understand this, that each one of us is the force. Each one of us. And what is the force in relationship to God? God is an entity that the force created out of itself. So the force is the essence that created all of existence into infinitum. It goes into infinity. There's no end to it. So consequently, why are we doing this? We're doing this We're going through these experiences. We call it experiential evolution. The force is going through experiential evolution. It is evolving through its own experiences.
Through our experiences.
Right, because we are it and it is us. So as we go through the experiences, for instance, as you're sniveling, the force is experiencing sniveling. It experiences everything because that's what it wants to do. That's why we're here. If it didn't want to experience something, what was the use of producing us or producing all of these species? Because we think of Earth. Earth is oh my God, Earth is so tiny. And this little space that we occupy is so tiny in comparison to what's outside of this space. We can't even, we're still trying to, understand Pluto and Mars. We were so happy when we got to the moon,
If we got to the moon, that
right.
is questionable. Depends who you're talking to.
Well, I tell you my grandfather's story about the moon. I think I told you that. I was 14 years old and they were getting ready to land on the moon. And my great-grandfather, he was my great-grandfather, said to me, "Daughter, I hope they land when the moon is full." I knew, I respected him. I was only 14.
Right.
I said to myself, you are not going to question your great-grandfather. Because I would have to go through a lot to explain to him about light and how the lighting works. So it appears. See, that's a good example of illusion.
True. Okay. We should get into that after the break, but we'll start right now.
Okay. Let's go into the break then. Are we ready to go?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well then let's get going.
Ahead. We'll be right back with Shifting Impressions. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Shifting Impressions. Thanks for joining us. So before we went to the break, Greta came up with the fantastic metaphor for this life illusion. So we will start right back with that. Greta, can you elaborate on this element that your grandfather came up with when he was worried that there would be less of moon for the people to land on if it wasn't full, and how we can translate that into this reality we're living in?
I think that is a good example of illusion, because we all know today that it's the light reflection that causes the moon to look half or a quarter, 3/4, whatever, or full. Right. But great-grandpa did not have that understanding. He was born in 1875 or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
He was born on a plantation where the education was not that great. So he just looked at the moon the way it looked. And then he said, when it was a half moon, now the other half is gone, because that was how the illusion presented itself to him. So he thoroughly believed that. And I was not, as a child, I was not going to explain to him, Grandpa, that's not right, because he wasn't going to, I felt that he wouldn't believe me. At 14, he was going to believe what he saw. And that's what all of us do. We believe what we see.
Right.
But we're always saying to people, what you see is not what always is. I might not have said that Englishly correct. But anyway.
Englishly, I don't know if that's correct, but we're not having a grammar lesson today.
So, we believe in these things. We believe that that in the illusions, just like my great grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, don't let them fall off. They're going to
Mhm.
fall off. I said, don't worry, Grandpa. They'll land when it's full. That was my only statement to him. And he said, okay, daughter. I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So we can multiply my great grandfather by millions and millions and millions and billions of people that are on this earth.
Right.
And one thing we believe in is illusion. Because guess what, Leigh? This is really, we're getting deeper now, because what happens with us, we don't realize it, but we're forever, notice what I'm going to say now, forever creating illusions. That's all this space is about, the creation of illusion. But we're so mesmerized by this reality that we believe that the doggone thing is real.
Right. We get very caught up in the things around us that we're creating.
Right. Like maintain health. Maintain health. I don't care what's around us. Maintain health. See yourself healthy. Create for yourself to be healthy at all times. So, Leigh, don't see the snibbles.
Okay, I will not.
They're gone
already.
as you right? All right,
You said not to see them. Not.
Don't see them, don't feel them, don't accept them, let them go away. You release all that.
I release all of it.
That's right. That's right.
Because I do not need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. You know, I'm getting rid of some challenges, some health challenges that I have now, you know, and I've gotten rid of, as we've told the audience before, I used to experience congestive heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was like, usually you die from that.
Right.
You know, and I just decided, what? I saw a young, I think I've told the story before, but I saw on television, this young man, he had to be in basketball. He was supposed to be he was in basketball or football. And they were on news, they were talking about that he had died, and that he had died of congestive heart failure. I said, what? I said, my eyes got big, just like they got big now. Mm-hmm. I said, Greta, I started talking to myself. I said, Greta, you are not going out of here with congestive heart failure. I'm not dealing with it anymore. It's gone. And then I started creating realities that would bring me things to myself to help me get rid of it. My doctor gave me the allopathic medicine that they get, heart medicine that they give everybody. I took that faithfully. Then I went to the health food store. What you got? I'm experiencing congestive heart failure. What's up in here that you can help me? They told me about grape seeds. So I started taking grape seeds. Then I started taking another product that works with inflammation. I started doing that. Then I I don't know what I started doing, but a lot of stuff. And then I started doing energy work on my heart, telling my heart, I love you, heart. You don't have to go through this, but thank you. Because congestive heart failure means something.
Right. I wanted to ask you about that, especially because I understand about the mental equivalencies. There is the quote unquote condition we may be experiencing, but then you can go deeper, and yes, it depends, what condition that particular organ is experiencing. And that means there's some clues in the area of the body too that is being affected. So can you elaborate on that a little more? But I also wanted to just say that, some episodes ago we were talking about that in this illusion we all have choices that we can make, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, the choice that you made was, you no longer wanted to experience that condition, and then you created the steps leading to your finding a doctor who provided some kind of medicine that and I think the key in the situation is that you believed that it would help you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then you created the situation to go to the health food store where you created the person who was familiar with the remedy for your condition. So these are all examples of creation. We think that, oh, they're just happening to us, or we're just, going through and these people are coming. No, that's actually our creation, correct? To either find the solution or find the alternative.
That's right. All we have to put is the thought. See, the thought for me was, I want to be healthy. And I moved from I want to be healthy, because when you say I want to be, then that's recognizing you aren't healthy. And at the same token, what it's doing when I say I want to be healthy, that's moving me into the future. So we know from other episodes that we've taught everyone that we're only in the now. There is no past. There is no future. There's only the now. Everything is forever in the now.
And in that case, you would say, I am experiencing opulent health, or I am experiencing robust health, not later, not I want to, but I am experiencing it presently.
Right. And even more, like for me, because the challenge was my heart, I said, I'm experiencing a healthy heart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so can we back up a little bit, and will you go into some more details about the heart? Because as we started off the podcast, I was talking about a love new year or love year. So let's just talk a little bit about the heart, because it's vital, right?
Right. Because the heart is what keeps, well, it's one of the things that keeps everything going. I mean, there are many other parts, but we won't get into all that. But the heart is a vital part. Your heart stops, that's it. You're gone. You're making your transition.
No, I mean the deeper mental equivalency of when things are malfunctioning in the heart.
That can be, I'd have to look and see exactly what is said. But I know it has something to do with appreciation and love of self, seeing that you are worthy, feeling that you are worthy. Because remember, for me, growing up as a child, my mother used to always tell me that I was no good. You're no good. And she didn't like my father. So she would say, you're no good like your father.
Mm-hmm.
See, so that meant that, oh, I'm not a good person. So I held that as an adult, because I went through congestive heart failure when I was in my 50s. I think I got it when I was in my 50s. And it took me 5 years to get through it.
Okay, that's important for people to know also.
Yes.
I mean, of course, at that time, you were at a different understanding in this work, if you want to call it work, than you are now. But still, it's important for people to know that in this particular case, it can turn around instantly, right? Because everything is happening in the now. However, because we have all of these beliefs kind of piled, right?
Yes.
Often it takes more than, just I am releasing this heart condition and then, oh, tomorrow everything's better.
There was a question for us. Did you see that in the chat? It said, what does the realm say about karma?
Yes.
Oh,
that is
karma. Well, we can wait for them, or we can really answer it since the question is there. many people believe that karma, see, karma can be good, karma can be quote unquote bad, quote unquote good, quote unquote bad, which doesn't exist in itself because there's only the isness of something. We judge it to be good or we judge something to be bad. But karma means that if I've done something, some people believe this, if I've done something to somebody, let's say I hurt you, I stole your
me,
or what? Apparently. Right, that's right. But I'm going
to perceive that Greta hurt me. Okay.
Right. So that means, and Greta's going to perceive that she hurt you. Okay. Which both ways are impossible. You can't hurt anybody. But I'm going to go and I'm going to steal your money. I don't like you. I don't want you to have this money. So I'm going to take it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in taking it, then I have karma, which means my karma, I'm going to experience the same thing that I did to you, but somebody else can do it to me. Somebody can come and steal my money. So that's going to be my karma. I'm paying for my sin, quote unquote.
Oh, we can't go into sin.
I know. That would be really interesting. But so people think I'm paying for what I did wrong. That's my karma. Or I am being granted opulent prosperity and abundance because I gave money to the Heart Foundation, or I gave money to other charities, or to the church when I tithe at the church. Then my karma is going to come back to me. But that means then when you believe in karma, you don't understand creation of reality.
I mean, because that same person could steal people's money and think that they have no quote unquote bad association with that, like that they are entitled. This is my job. I am the best embezzler there is. So, so then, I mean, in that karmatic case, since they were associating a good equation to it, I guess it wouldn't come back. And that's why it gets a little squirrely, right?
Right.
When you're trying to make all of these associations. Oh, I did this and then it was sinful and I did that. Oh, but it was good. So.
Right. But technically there is no karma. To answer that question, there is no karma, because karma means that you're being subjected to something. You're paying.
Right, there's some kind of outside force that's manipulating your life. And that is not what we teach here.
No, there is no karma. There's no karma, because the reason why there's no karma is because you're creating your reality at all times.
So at all times. If you like sinning, there's no problem there.
Well, it may, quote unquote, we'd have to go back, like you said, we'd have to deal with what is the concept of sin. What does it mean when you're sinning, type of thing. I know when I went to school, and I think we're coming into to our next break, but I was taught to sinning. You're sinning if you don't go to church every Sunday. You're sinning, and so it gives a lot of guilt. Mm-hmm. Karma can even give you guilt. So with karma can come, notice I said can come to you in various ways that you don't want to be bothered with. But see, the interesting thing that you said about that, if you think I'm doing a good thing to steal your money, what comes to mind? The stories of Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Mm-hmm. You see, so we would look at that and say, oh, that was good karma. He's setting up because he's giving the money to the poor. Mm-hmm. He didn't keep it for himself. So then that justifies him going and stealing it. See, there's a justification right there.
This is such, if you were raised in this kind of religious framework, there's so many traps in it.
Yeah,
There's
there's a
so
lot.
much judgment ascribed to it. I mean, if we could drop all of this, it was, and I mean, there's so much empowerment in saying, no, I'm doing this. And
Yes.
I can continue doing this, or I can stop doing this. It is, my decision, not from some spooky bearded man in the sky, not because something I did yesterday is coming back to haunt me today. No, you're doing it. And that means you can change it.
Yes,
We're not
that is the
subjected to
beauty.
these.
Yes, yes, that's the beauty of understanding. We create our own reality at all times. And so I'm going to let you take us out of here, Leigh.
Thank you for listening to Shifting Impressions. When we come back from the break, we will be to the part of the podcast that I, I think people are liking, and we will be speaking directly with the realm of beings through Greta, and we will be talking to them about this quotation that there's a new beginning in every moment. So thank you for listening. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to Shifting Impressions. I'm Leigh, and I'm here with the realm of beings. So, realm, are you present?
Yes, 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 yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Greta and I have been discussing on this almost to the new year, the quotation, there is a new beginning at every moment. What do you have to add to our discussion today, Realm?
Don't get stuck.
Stuck where?
Stuck inside yourself and think you can't do anything better. Don't get stuck.
Because
you see, when you get stuck, what we mean by that is that you feel, some people feel, oh, I can't do any better. I can't find a better job. I can't find a better school. I can't find a better place to live. Don't get stuck.
because all of those things are just manifestations of the real tape that is going on in our mind and our belief in the illusion that seems so present all around us.
That's right. Because remember, it's the unconscious. It's the unconscious that holds everything. We've said that before. It holds everything. So when it feels that you want to experience something because you're collecting stuff, we're like little collectors. You want to collect a little bit. We said we're like. So because we see ourselves one with you. So that's why we use the word we're. We're one with you. We don't see any difference between us and you, or Greta and us. Right now, we are using Greta's physical body to be able to express our thoughts through, because that's what you believe. You can hear them, the thoughts coming out of her mouth. It's a little bit more believable to you than if we just stand next to you and operate with you from mind to mind, which then you call intuition. And then you're trying to figure out, well, should I follow my intuition or should I not follow my intuition? Because there's always choice in there. Every minute, there is creation of reality. Every second, every time I said it, that's a creation of reality. You're creating reality 24/7. You never stop. When you get into your dream state and you're laying down, you're going to sleep, that is your That's just another reality. If you're in a coma, you put yourself in a coma. Notice I said if you put yourself in a coma, or if the doctor put you in a coma. If the doctor put you in a coma, that's because you put yourself in the coma. Because nobody can ever do anything to you ever. It's absolutely impossible. So one thing we want to talk about today is to tell people, stop judging. Stop blaming people for things. They did this to me. They did that to me. You hurt me. Stop that. Because nobody can do anything to you. You can only do it to yourself. And you do it to yourself by way of your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Don't blame people. If something happens to you, turn it around and look, why did I create that? That's where you want to be. Why did I create that? Why did I create that experience? Why did I bring that person into my life? Because sometimes we can bring people into our lives we wish we had never met them.
Mhm.
You see. So there
And
you go.
when we have that experience, what should we take away from that? It's a chance for us to look in, and whatever judgments we're divvying out for that person, it's somewhere in us. That's what we're to learn from that.
Yeah, but we got to get in there firstly. Each
Yep.
person has to go into themselves and say, okay, what was I thinking? What made me do that? What made me fall down? What made me cut my finger? What made me give myself cancer? What made me give myself, like Greta was talking about congestive heart failure. She had to look at why did she give herself that experience? We give everything to ourselves. And the other people, what the other people do is support. We're always talking about create, support, create. Create, support, create. That is going on simultaneously at all times. It never stops. Why? Because the force never stops. The force is an endless entity into infinity. And infinity is only as far as we can think of infinity. But it's way beyond what we think.
And you had mentioned earlier when we first started talking about, this intuition, and, sometimes you can communicate with us intuitively instead of like what you're doing now with Greta. But I mean, that's also us creating that, correct?
Correct. Because you have to create, you have something in your mind. And then you say, most people say, God help me. God help me. So then you feel something. Oh, God's answering me. You feel a feeling. I shouldn't go there. I should go to this doctor, not that doctor. You've asked for help. And there are entities such as ourselves and such as people call angels and spiritual beings and even other species that can come to assist you in your situation. But you have to ask.
But that sounds like something outside of ourself. Earlier in the discussion, we had gotten a question about what is karma. And Greta and I were talking about how that is very judgmental. And so when you say that there are other energies outside of ourself, that sounds a little conflicting to me.
I can see that it would, Leigh. But think of it. If you had a big package and you needed help bringing it in because you knew that you weren't able to carry that big box, what would you do?
Ask for help.
Thank you. Ask for help. Because we're there to help. Entities are there to help. You know, of course, there's some entities that would do the opposite because of their personality development, but that's another issue we'd have to talk about.
Yes, I think we have to save that for another podcast.
Yes, that's a biggie. But so right now we're just on creation of reality, and that you create your reality at every moment. Every moment. You're not like, for us right now, we're creating the reality because we're speaking a reality. Every letter, every word, we're speaking English to you. We're supporting you in understanding this podcast. We are not talking in our own language. We are talking in English to you.
So when we're asking for help, we're creating, and the energy that is the realm is doing the support?
Yes, another person can be giving you the support. It's like when Greta went to the health food store and she asked the lady in the health food store, hey, what you got for her? She asked, what do you have for me? So then she said, okay, I think Greta said grape seeds or something like that. Okay, so the woman showed her grape seeds and explained it to her. That woman was supporting her in getting rid of congestive heart failure. That's a support. We always give support to the other person. Like there's somebody now who's going to be listening to this podcast and they're going to walk away and say, that was exactly what I needed to hear. So they're going to create to go to the podcast that's going to provide them with that assistance, with that support. We're always supporting somebody, always. And they are always supporting us. But the thing is, what kind of support do you want? So that's why you look at yourself and say, what am I creating? What is it that I want to experience in this thing called LIFE, life, humanoid life? What do I want to experience in humanoid life? And we're only just talking about humanoids in this podcast. We're not talking about everything else.
So do you have anything to add about karma?
Well, the big thing about karma is that it doesn't exist. Humanoids have created that because they wanted to try and figure out, how does this whole thing work? How does existence work? What's happening? Just the same thing like they created death, and there is no death. That's one of the illusions. That's one of the illusions of death. There's no death. How can something die? It doesn't.
Maybe we will get into that in the new year. Love and death.
Oh,
podcast.
that would be a good one. Oh, yeah, we need about 2 or 3 sessions for that.
Yes, I think that is a multi-episode
Yeah.
topic for sure.
Yes. But
Talking
karma,
about
no karma. You can't do anything to anybody. Nobody can do anything to you, Leigh. You have to create it in your mind and put the emotion behind it. Then the person will support you there.
Okay, we'll support you in the wanted or the unwanted.
Correct.
Right?
It's always support, Leigh. Always support. You're supporting the other person. But like Greta said, how do you know when it's yours? Because it's personally happening to you. You stubbed your toe. It didn't happen with somebody else. It happened with you. So therefore you created it. You created it. If you went to the restaurant and they served you mashed potatoes instead of French fries, guess what? You created that experience. Don't blame the waitress and don't blame the cook. Look inside yourself and say, Why did I give myself mashed potatoes and gravy instead of giving myself French fries?
Realm, we are coming to the end of this episode on the podcast and also the culmination of the end of the year. Do you have some final words for our listeners today?
Our final words, Leigh, are love yourself unconditionally. Love you before you love anybody else. Because if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anybody else, really.
Thank you, Realm. Thank you for joining us today. Listeners, thank you. And as we close this episode, we would like to wish you Happy New Year until we create each other again.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, The Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.